which is August 3rd. No, October 3rd. It would be nice to go back to August. And let's have our Pledge of Allegiance before we continue on.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning everyone, and thank you for being here today. The main reason that we are here is to let the commissioners know what we as a delegation would like to see or not see in the upcoming budget. We have started this procedure. I think we have done this now. I think this would be our third. What used to happen in the past was that the commissioners would start their budget discussions with their executive branch department heads and bring us their thoughts. And it would be 1 year there was an increase of either 12 or 17%, and that's when we decided that what we needed to do was to come to the commissioners prior to the time that they start working on their budget to give them our input about where we would like to see it, instead of having to react to the budget that they are giving to us. That's why we're doing it today. I know that there are, we'll have a chance to figure out what we do. We can ask the commissioners questions. After we are through with that discussion and we give the commissioners what we think is where we would like them to go, the commissioners have some issues to talk to us about, and then we're going to finish the meeting and go into some subcommittees that have, noticed that they were going to talk. So what I would like to do is open it up. Representative Babson.
For public input? Point of order, Madam Chairman?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Don't we usually have public input here?
Yes, that's right. I didn't have my agenda. So is there anybody from the public that would like to say something?
You beat me to it.
Any time now, sir? You want to say something now?
No, I'll hold off.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's good. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you for reminding me. Now, what would you like to hear? Where would you like to see the budget? Anybody like to open up and discuss anything? Yes, Karen. Now, Representative Berger.
I might as well say something. I think somebody needs to start.
Yeah.
I certainly think that that we should not, under any circumstances, exceed the inflation rate for this year. I recognize that there are, we've got fuel, we've got gas, we've got any number of things that are above and beyond the inflation rate, but the overall budget, in my opinion, should definitely not exceed that. And I also recognize that many of our citizens in the county will not receive any Social Security or pension increases this year. And so we need to be cognizant of that when we are working with any sort of salary changes. So
yes.
That's my thought.
Okay, Representative Flett.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yeah, I'd like to second that, and I think the CPI has been flat for some time. Our constituents are living with that flatness when it comes time to, when they expect increases in various kinds of pensions, Social Security, and so forth. And I would just like to say that I would like to see the entire budget, not just the salaries, but the entire budget. We go in with the intent that that stays at a flat rate. I know that's a lot to ask, but I think that's the place where we have to, that's the point that we have to strive to achieve.
Okay. Representative McCarthy. And I will come to the commissioners after we have done that.
Representative Fleck seconded what Representative Umberger said, and I'll third it. I know that in the the work that I've done with the county over this year, I have determined that the increase in the county budget over the last 3 or 4 years is phenomenal. Something like 29%. Last year, according to my figures, the increase over the last year and what was requested, not what it ended up with, but what was requested, was 17% just in 1 year. So I agree. I think we ought to keep it to a very bare minimum. I understand that the price of oil has gone up, several other things that we've already discussed in previous meetings, and I understand that and go along with that, but I think we ought to try our very, very best to keep the budget as low as we possibly can. Things like $1,000 a day for nurses overtime, I think is not necessary. There are other ways to cover that time. So I know there's places in the budget where we can lower it, and I hope we do.
Okay. Representative Merrill.
Just a question. I don't disagree with lowering it, but I guess my question is, how do you mentioned wages, how do the current union contracts tie into this? Are these 3-year contracts? Do we have built-in raises that we're locked into?
No, I think Commissioner...
What's the deal on that?
There are raises locked into the sheriff's union, but the union for the nursing home and the jail are coming up. I've met as the negotiator with our attorney. He does a lot of the other counties, and he's looking at 1%
Okay.
for the jail and the nursing home contract.
Thank you.
Go ahead. And the sheriff, we are into the second year of our
Yeah.
our 2-year, so we won't be negotiating with the sheriff this year.
Right.
Okay. Let me see, Representative Algren and then Babson.
Thank you. I suppose technically the answer to your question, Representative Merrill, is no, we're not locked into anything as the county convention here. We can appropriate any given amount of money towards salaries that is deemed necessary. We are not bound by the contract. The commissioners are bound by the contract. We are not.
May I comment on that?
Yes.
Just from a legal standpoint. Okay, now I'm not saying that we shouldn't take that into consideration, but legally, we appropriate money. That's what we do. They have to cut hours in order to make it work for their contracts. That's what they have to do. But as far as our binding of what we say we're willing to spend is what we say we're willing to appropriate.
And let me just have Representative Merrill, and I'll come back to you.
I don't disagree with that. The only reason that I asked the question, and I think it was probably answered okay, if you gave or locked into an extraordinary, let's say, large raise for the union, we don't have anything to do with that. But if we're cutting the appropriations down, that means somewhere else you've got to cut it. And I was just curious as to how big that cut might be.
Understood.
Okay, Representative Algren, Babson, and then McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I certainly concur that we need to keep the budget as low as possible, particularly on the general fund spending. Representative McCarthy is correct that last year's general fund spending did go up about 17%, and that was because of the nursing home bond payments. So fortunately, we were able to help offset that because we had about $450,000 in stimulus money that came to the nursing home, and then about another $500,000 of interest income that we hadn't budgeted into the revenue due to the bond money that we had in the bank. So we had about $1 million more available to us last year to put into the budget to offset taxes. This year, however, it remains to be seen if we'll have that. And that is, we're certainly not going to have the stimulus money to that degree, and I'm sure that the amount of money of revenue is going to be less than approximately $500,000. It was $400,000 to $500,000 last year. So those are impacts, just in and of itself, that are going to affect the budget. You know, if you consider $1 million over the approximately $13 million we're going to raise, okay, so that's going to, just on its own, raise taxes about 8%. So, you know, we need to be very cognizant of that going in, that the tax rate is going to be affected, and that this year, you know, the general fund dollars that we're spending need to go down significantly. One area that I believe that we could achieve that would be through the nursing home budget. The nursing home budget was budgeted this year to about $2.2 million of a deficit. That's what it's budgeted to do. It's budgeted to lose about $2.2 million. Okay. Now, we have heard that the nursing home is going to be running in the black. You know, that's our understanding. It's not good. It's going to be revenue neutral, apparently. Okay. Well, the nursing home budget needs to, I can't necessarily reflect that, but if it could come in at only losing $1.2 million instead of $2.2 million, we would make up that $1 million that we lost, okay, for money that we could put in. So I would, you know, strongly suggest that, you know, that the budget from the nursing home, its deficit should be less than $1 million. And then that would make up for that money that, you know, we're going to be having to find a place for. And you know, I guess that's my only comment at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Babson and then Representative
Thank you, Madam
McCarthy.
A flat budget, I think, is a lofty goal here. For instance, the jail, we gave them an extra $25,000 for heat, and they're going to exceed that. Medical is going to go up another 11 or 12% this coming year. And I hope if we're going to hold a level funded budget, that everybody here is prepared to make some pretty severe cuts. I don't want to see a 3 or 4% increase, but certainly you've got to put some serious thought into maybe a 1 or 2% increase, because there are things we have no control over.
Okay, Representative McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to mention to keep in mind Representative Merrill's question about pay raises and the contracts, that sort of thing. The contracts that I am aware of, that I have read and I have gone through, the sheriffs, the county jail, although in the past couple of years, military retirees, Social Security recipients have not gotten a COLA, it's built into the contracts that most of the government employees of the county get a 2% COLA every year, and that's going to be automatic.
Okay, anyone else want to have some input about where Representative Schmidt?
Just a comment. I put out a memo a while ago, and what I would like to see when we start to explore this budget in detail is the county budget is full of discretionary spending and non-discretionary spending. That is that which we are legally required to provide, and that which we are not legally required to provide. Now, for on the discretionary side of the budget, I would really like to see the commissioners come in and explain in great detail why it's required that we should not take a cut out of them, and are we providing a good service to the county. I'm not prejudging it as to we should go there, but I would really like to get into that side of the budget.
The discretionary side?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Okay, are there any further comments or inputs about where you would like the commissioners to start or look at their budget? Representative McConkey, any thoughts?
I know there's always, thank you, Madam Chairman, I know there's always things that come in that are beyond control, which Representative McCarthy mentioned on the 2%, and I'd like to go back to the discretionary and non-discretionary, and I'd hope they'd keep a very, very close eye on that. I know the towns have worked very hard, Ossipee, with a level budget for a number of years.